Right now we're going to go over to listener opinions for Big Thunder Mountain, and we're going to start with emails. The first email is from Cafe Fantasia. Now, Simon, I hope your battery doesn't die on your tablet, because this one's about 4 pages long. I hope you've got some power.
We have indeed. Bring it on. Let's do this.
Let's go. Cafe Fantasia starts with a trivia section. He's got loads of facts and information.
I love fun facts.
He talks about the actual ride system for Big Thunder Mountain. It's a Vekoma Custom MK900M. He lists exactly what that means.
As we all know, of course, it's just yeah, we know. Why even bother talking about it?
Okay,
Andrew?
then
I mean,
you do.
Vekoma MK900M. That's just
close your eyes. Close your eyes and tell us what it means.
Vekoma is obviously the name of the manufacturer. Vekoma Rides Manufacturing, based in the Netherlands. MK900 refers to the track gauge, which is 900 millimeters, narrower than Vekoma's other coasters, and M because it's a mine train.
Of course.
I did that with my eyes closed, I promise you.
That didn't look anything like what's in front of me on my screen.
Exactly.
Well done. Apparently there's only 3 other MK900M coasters in existence, the most famous being the Colorado Adventure, aka the Michael Jackson Thrill Ride. Didn't even know there was one in Phantasialand in Germany.
It's actually remarkably good if you get the opportunity to go on it. Yeah, it's got a ridiculously long train, so if you sit at the front of it, then you'll go over the crest of a hill and then go down really slowly, and then suddenly at some random point when you'll feel like you're at the bottom of the incline, you'll suddenly pick up loads of speed as the rest of the train gets over the hill. It's a really strange ride, but very fun.
So that's what one part of Big Thunder Mountain I love. Obviously, it's probably not as long as that, but when you're at the back, you can feel, or even, I suppose at the front as well. When you're at the front, you can feel the back trying to catch up with you and stuff like that, and you can actually tell when it gets over the crest, can't you? And then
you can definitely, and that's the kind of thing that, I mean, if they do choose to extend the train by one carriage, then that dynamic will be altered again. I don't think they will, as I said, but it
add to the effect. It would definitely add to the effect. Can you tell that Michael Jackson Thrill Ride? Can you tell that it's the same track system or not? Are the trains completely different?
This is news to me, to be honest. I also, as a matter of fact, have no idea why it's called Michael Jackson Thrill Ride. Just a random sign up by the entrance that says it. Doesn't make any sense. There's no relevance to Michael Jackson.
I'm sure we could make. Cool, each train has 5 cars. Each car holds 6 guests, as we mentioned before. So the guests have 30 guests per train, which is higher capacity than Space Mountain, which only has 24 guests per train. There's a Big Thunder Mountain simulator, and I mentioned this a couple of episodes ago now. If you haven't had a chance to go on it, you can waste hours and hours of your life. And you get to choose. I think on this simulator there's only 3 trains, if I remember rightly, on this simulator. But you get to play with 2 to start with, and then you need to decide whether you've got the capacity or not, and you need to add an extra train into it. It's so intense.
It sounds fantastic.
I need to remember what the address is for that. I'll post it on Twitter because it is actually really fun. The track is 1,500 meters long, so just under a mile. If you unravel it and put it in a straight line, it will get you all the way from Dumbo in Fantasyland over to the main entrance of Hotel Santa Fe. Now, wouldn't that be
I would like a roller coaster connecting those 2 features in the resort.
I was just about to say, that would be probably one of the best attractions in the whole of the Disney Park world, wouldn't it?
Let's do it. 2017, 25th anniversary, Hotel Santa Fe to Dumbo roller coaster. If you had a sort of rock and roller coaster style launch mechanism, it would be very quick.
Oh, exactly. 0 to 60 and what? Amazing.
Oh, I know that fact off the top of my head.
Well, we'll do Rock and Roller Coaster one day, and we'll research it, and we'll find out what it was. So no spoilers this time.
Disney Parks Twitter, they were posting about a Rock and Roller Coaster quiz. It was only like 6 questions long, but I did get the question right on how fast it goes. The only question I got wrong was how many speakers are in the train. It was something like 170, something stupidly high. Like
in one train?
Yeah.
Is there so many per seat?
Well, it has to be.
Must be, yeah. Well, obviously. I've got a story about the Rock and Roller Coaster and speakers, but I'll leave that to the Rock and Roller Coaster.
I feel like we should save that. Yeah, we keep talking about the wrong attraction.
Well, we were talking about Ratatouille just before we done this, so why not?
Yeah, whoops.
While the attraction only appears to have 3 lift hills, technically it has 4 if you count the one at the very end, which prevents the train from rolling back into the return tunnel under the rivers of the Far West, which, since we've seen them drain it to do the refurbishment, the rivers of the Far West is a lot shallower than I thought it would have been.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the bottoms of the boats, Mark Twain and the other one, can't remember its name now because it's been out of action for so long, they must have a narrower, shallower bottom.
Yeah, I mean, imagine the bottom must be flat, and by the look of the track there, I think they probably also have wheels.
Yeah, there must be wheels on there as well. There are 4 Big Thunder Mountain rides in the world. We've already mentioned this at the start of the podcast, with Disneyland Paris, its version being the last one that Disney ever built. Both Hong Kong and Disneyland and Shanghai Disneyland have no Frontierland, and Big Grizzly Mountain Runaway Mine Cars was obviously built instead of Big Thunder Mountain.
Yeah, the thing to note there, if you don't know, the Big Grizzly Mountain, whatever it's called, in Hong Kong, that's the same ride system as Expedition Everest in Animal Kingdom in Florida. So, I mean, it's similar because it's, Runaway Mine Train again, but this one goes backwards.
Like Indiana Jones, the Temple of Peril. That went backwards for a little bit.
Well, no, it goes forward, then it stops, then it goes backwards,
okay,
and then it launches you forwards again.
That's good. So it's
it looks like a lot of fun. Expedition Everest is very fun. That doesn't have any sort of launching though, sadly.
Is it the ride Valhalla at Blackpool Pleasure Beach does that go backwards at one point? I think it does. You go up the lift hill, then you go backwards.
I think it does go backwards.
Down. Anyway, we're digressing again. We've got
through like 3 bullet points and we're digressing.
Yeah, we're still on the first page of like 10. On episode 292 of the Season Pass podcast, Tony Baxter.
That is incredibly specific.
We don't need to explain who Tony Baxter is.
As a history student that has to reference things precisely. The correct episode, I appreciate that.
Well, Cafe Fantasia doesn't do things by halves, does he? It's all or nothing.
Oh, definitely not. Exactly. And we like everything.
Oh, exactly. I'm not going to explain who Tony Baxter is. If you're one of our listeners who's just joined us and you don't know, do a little research, but I'm not explaining anymore. He gave his opinions on the explosive finale added to Disneyland's Big Thunder Mountain Railroad in March 2014. He had to say this. I'm really impressed with that, the finale. John Gritz, who is the principal concept designer at Walt Disney Imagineering, did this explosive, TNT number in there. That is far more engaging than the original one. And what's great about it is that the challenge was to eliminate some safety issues of the old moving rocks that were above our heads. And I always look at that like, oh, here we go, it's going to be less involving and less. But John looked at that and said, I'm going to take this as an opportunity to make a more frightening, more immersive experience. So we did that. Taken word for word, do you feel our version in Disneyland Paris is going to be just as fun as he wants that one to be, or wanted it to be, the one in California?
I should think so. I mean, let's be honest, we have an underground sequence that goes under a course ours is cooler, and I would imagine we'll get a full sort of not just TNT being there and a little bit of glistening or whatever, but a full as it says sequence, big blast of smoke and whatever. I think that'll make things a whole lot better anyway. And that will be a really immersive, enjoyable lift hill sequence.
I am looking forward to it. Let's hope it lives up to its billing. Where does the thunder in Big Thunder Mountain come from? This has been all over Twitter, and there's lots of different websites about this, and we mentioned it before as well. A bird called the Thunderbird apparently is where the name, the part of the name Thunder comes in from Big Thunder Mountain. I'm not going to go through that one because it links in with the earthquakes and all that kind of jazz. This is now Cafe Fantasia's ideas from what he would like and what he would like to install onto I was going to say Cafe Fantasia and onto Big Thunder Mountain. He says, like Tower of Terror, Big Thunder Mountain is a near-perfect attraction that's hard to improve on. That said, here are a few of his ideas. Video mapping obviously will be used when Disney's explosive new finale comes to Disneyland Paris in December 2016. However, other scenes in the attraction could definitely be enhanced with this technology. For example, what if a swarm of projected bats engulfed the train during the outbound tunnel? Or what if a huge rupturing fault line chased your train down the tunnel with the walls of the mine crumbling and collapsing around you? got to be one of our favourite ideas.
Well, I mean, anything involving projection mapping obviously is, but I mean that certainly is a really cool idea. I would guess at the minute the tunnels underneath probably don't actually have any real surrounding walls. It's so blackened now. I'd imagine it's probably just concrete around you. But yeah, no, that would be cool, wouldn't it, to see rocks, falling around you and the cave crumbling onto you as the roller coaster car races through. Definitely up for that. Definitely up for that indeed.
It would be nice. But obviously, we're probably just going to be left with the same changes that happened in the Disneyland version. But any extras would be amazing. Cafe Fantasia goes on to say, what if Big Thunder Mountain had an onboard soundtrack like we were discussing on Rock and Roller Coaster a few seconds ago? Some would say that's unnecessary, that the ride doesn't need music, and it doesn't, but he thinks it would be quite interesting, a way of taking the attraction to the next level by giving it more drama and more emotion. Imagine an orchestral piece of music specifically written for the attraction in the style of the Big Country theme or the Magnificent Seven. Again, we discussed about the sound of the actual coaster as it goes round, and even though it's not on a wooden track, it gives the impression of the creaking and the clacking and the clanking sounds. So to do anything that will take away from that in any way might be a negative aspect. Like I say, Disney are very famous for having onboard soundtracks on their attractions, and Space Mountain definitely adds to the attraction, and the same goes to Aerosmith Rock and Roller Coaster, because without that it's very, very boring, really, in my opinion. So I would like to see an onboard soundtrack, maybe not for the whole ride. Would you be able to split it up and have some music or some orchestral piece in one area, not the other? What do you think?
I think you could definitely do that. I mean, do you go for a full soundtrack? Do you go for just some sort of ambient sound effect kind of things? I mean, you could amplify a lot of things. It wouldn't necessarily need to be an orchestral score or something, because maybe that wouldn't add to it. Maybe that would make it feel slightly less like a real mine train. But no, I love a good onboard soundtrack. So why not have it on every attraction?
Yeah,
Silence is boring.
Silence is boring. Sound effects, I think, probably would be that if it was going to go anywhere with onboard speakers or onboard sound system, I think adding some extra sounds, especially when you're going to add the extra effects in the tunnel or in the mine area. What I would suggest there, like you say, is when the fireworks are going off and the explosions and all that kind of jazz, having some sound effects that follow you up the hill would be really interesting and add a different dimension to it. We're actually on to the last part of the email from Cafe Fantasia. He says a lot of guests video themselves on Big Thunder Mountain because it's a fun group experience, and the majority of it is outdoors, so you can actually see what's going on. On-ride photos are already offered via the Disney Photo Pass Plus. However, what if on-ride photos were offered, as they already are on Seven Dwarfs Mine Train over at Walt Disney World? What if the trains were upgraded with integrated video cameras that discreetly capture your experience, available to purchase when you get off? I would definitely be interested in, as long as it was only a few pounds for the download, I would definitely be interested in that kind of technology and be able to download a video of your actual trip on the attraction.
That's interesting. I didn't know Seven Dwarfs Mine had that.
Yeah, it's something I've been reading about. It tracks your Magic Band, I think, as well. So you can... What it does, I don't think it films the whole thing, but it takes little snippets of certain areas of the attraction and then splices it together at the end, and you get more of the generic footage spliced in with your actual footage. So I think what Cafe Fantasia is saying here is they actually have on-ride video cameras for every train, and you can actually film the whole attraction rather than just certain sections.
Interesting. I mean, yeah, could be quite fun. I'm always wary about putting too many cameras places. I feel like phones are intrusive. I don't like when people just get a phone out like, oh, I'll video this. I suppose it's not quite the same having a discrete camera, as Cafe Fantasia says, but yeah, I don't know where I sit on that. I suppose I've not seen these videos of Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. I will have to look that up now. I'm a bit intrigued.
But you just saying that about people get their cameras out and take videos or pictures of themselves on there. Surely I
suppose as it would stop that then, wouldn't it?
It probably would, yeah. And if they were discreet enough that you didn't really notice them, but it was advertised that they were there, then I would probably enjoy the ride a lot more because I wouldn't be thinking about having to get my camera out if I wanted to. I don't, but if I was one of those people that wanted to capture it, then I knew that I could get it available in better quality anywhere at the end of the attraction. So I would definitely like to include that if it was possible in the future.
That's very true. I suppose also if you're with someone who like freaks out when they're on a roller coaster, that could be a really enjoyable video to have, because I get the feeling watching me on a roller coaster, it's probably not that good. I put my hands in the air and scream a bit, but I wouldn't call that entertaining viewing.
No, I can think of a few students who we went with a couple of years ago on the trip who I would have loved to have had the video of them on the attraction, because when I was on there with them, they were a very funny shade of green, and it was Big Thunder Mountain, and I was looking backwards the whole way around just because I wanted to see his face and the colour that he was going through, from red to pink to green to white. It's safe to say he was scared of roller coasters as well, and I don't think Big Thunder Mountain cured that either.
Oh dear. Oh, that's a shame. Big Thunder Mountain's not a wild ride.
No, and I definitely would have loved to have seen the video of him on Tower of Terror, because we managed to drag him on there as well, and his face was even worse. Do you want to go through to the next email? I'll let you do the honours.
Okay, so we've got an email from Taylor. He says, my family absolutely loved Big Thunder Mountain. It's our favourite coaster from any theme park. We all thought Disneyland Paris' version was better than at Walt Disney World. It's a real advantage over the average theme park, mid-coaster in its length, got 3 sets of climbs. We've never even had to be held due to a train ahead, not even cleared the track, which often happens at other theme parks. I've heard 2 rumours around the length of the trains. It would be good to hear your opinions. So he says the trains being lengthened seems unlikely, as we've said. He also says the trains being shortened to allow an extra train, which would also apparently increase overall capacity. He says this one sounds a bit more plausible, but only hope it won't mean you end up being held mid-ride due to the queues. He can see new scenes seem to be something that he's not expecting. And he says, thanks for us doing a podcast, which is very kind of him to finish with. That's interesting that Alan mentions that there, because, I mean, I don't think they will change the length of the trains. I can't understand, though, how they'd manage to shorten trains and have more going around, because there's normally 2 in the station at the same time. So unless you held one up right at the end, which sometimes happens anyway, I can't see the logic in that. But then again, I don't have a maths brain. I'm not good with that.
Don't ask me about maths. I can imagine, like he was saying, that you don't want to, if you added an extra train, then what he was saying about not having to actually stop while you're on the attraction, once you're going around on the track, surely that would mean that the more trains you have in there, depending on how it's how layout of the track is sorted out, then you may have to put in different brake sections to stop certain attractions going through different bits so that they're in like a safety zone. I'm not entirely sure about that. If anybody else out there knows that for certain, because I'm sure somebody does, let us know. Let us know on Twitter or Facebook or via email. podcast@magicaldlp.co.uk.
Oh, nice plug there.
Sorry, that was my DJ voice. Could you tell?
Nice.
Sounds like I do local radio or hospital radio. I don't, but if anybody's looking for a DJ, I am available.
Yeah, I bet your school begs to differ.
Well, if they pay me more than my school does, I'll happily do that.
The mercenary.
James Martin sent us an email. I think you were doing Big Thunder Mountain next, right?
We are
I hope
indeed.
so, because we're doing it now. That's my favourite ride at Disney. I love the theming, the ride experience, the queue line, and just the sheer wonder of going in a tunnel and appearing on an island. I can't believe they dug under a lake. I don't think they would have dug. Do you think they would have dug under the lake, or do you think they would have built the attraction first, or they would have built around it and then kind of buried it into the lake? I think they probably would have. Obviously, it was part of the plan originally, so it wasn't like the lake was already there and then they dug under it.
Yeah. Well, they
would have built around it.
Landscapes, everything. It was just flat before. So yeah, and they sort of had a deeper bit of tunneling and then just concreted over the top of that.
Yeah. So we're not picking.
So then be the base of the lake. I mean, as we know though, as we've only very, very recently found out from the refurbishment, actually that it's not really a lake. It's about a metre of water. That's all. It's very, very small.
Yeah, so actually my bath...
Love the illusions.
My bath's probably deeper than
so
his.
clever.
My bath's probably deeper than his.
Probably is.
Just imagine Mark Twain. Well, now I'm going to say this, it sounds quite bad. I was just about to say, just imagine Mark Twain, like, riding through your bath. But I'm talking about the boat.
Would you get bath toys of
Mark Twain?
Oh, of the Mark Twain and the Molly Brown?
That would be amazing, wouldn't it? There you go.
Let's do that.
I'm sure there'd be lots of adults out there that would happily play Disneyland Paris, Frontierland, and use them bath toys to reenact their time at Disneyland Paris. If anybody from Disneyland Paris is listening,
why don't we work in merchandising, Andrew?
There we go. I'll send them a copy of this email, and they'll surely give us 5% of all future earnings.
I think so.
James has got a funny story. His brother David has never been very good on roller coasters, but the rest of his party wanted them to experience Big Thunder Mountain, and so between them, he coached him onto the attraction. They talked to him for an hour through the queue, telling him that it would be fun and there was nothing to be scared of. Finally, when they got to the front of the queue, he got in the cart first, or the train first, and then James followed. He looked right to talk to him, and he had gone. He just saw this figure of his brother from the exit shouting, "I'm sorry!" over his shoulder. He went on it on the next trip and realised there was nothing to worry about, but they've never let him forget that story, and he goes on to call his brother Plonker. I've never seen or I've never heard or witnessed anybody running away from Big Thunder Mountain before. We're going to go over to Twitter now. The question we posted on Twitter, which seems a long time ago now, sorry about that. The question was, what do you love or hate about Big Thunder Mountain? Heather Clement, who is known as @Yesterday'sLady on Twitter, she posted, "I love the music and the theming, smiley face. I hate the people who throw litter on the roof you look down on whilst you are waiting." And then she's put an angry face there. It is one of the things I definitely
so agree with that angry face.
Definitely. They've put nets up now. I don't know if that's, well, it probably is for health and safety reasons, but people obviously can still squeeze some rubbish and bottles and plastic wrappers through that gap. And the only thing they really can do is board them up to stop people chucking rubbish down there, but then it's going to really ruin the effect and ruin the attraction queue.
I think so. I mean, if they really wanted to spend the money on it, then they could wall it up and put some windows in there, i.e. windows that aren't open, that would still sort of give you a view, but would stop people chucking litter. I just don't understand why people throw litter anyway. It doesn't make any sense. Why would you go, oh, here's a net, let me squeeze my plastic bottle through that? That feels like a lot of effort. Put it in a pocket, just carry it. Oh,
now, is
anger.
Is part of it the how Disneyland Paris actually look after their attractions, maybe? Because I'm not giving them an excuse for doing it, but if there is already lots of rubbish down there and you're holding a wrapper, now I would never do this, but I can imagine some people would think, well, I'm not going to be the bad person because there's already rubbish there anyway, so I'm just going to add a little bit and nobody will notice anyway.
Well, so, yeah, the sort of classic, oh, they started it.
Yeah, so do you feel that if it was kept on top of and it was always clean, you would probably find that most people would feel bad for putting something down there if that was going to be the only piece of rubbish down there?
Would probably help a bit, but I mean, it's got to be quite a task to climb on top of them.
Yeah, we'll just blame the Europeans.
Yeah, God,
even though
we
are Europeans as well officially, but we'll blame them as well. Steve from Dedicated to DLP, the rivals. Lots of people queuing for it, making other queues shorter. I take it that's him loving it, isn't it? Because he doesn't do Big Thunder Mountain, does our Steve?
No, Steve's not into roller coasters.
So he's basically saying that while people are queuing for Big Thunder Mountain for an hour or more, it's taking people away from the queue for Pirates of the Caribbean. Or that probably could be taking them away from the queue from characters now, because Steve has turned into a big character fan.
I have seen that on Twitter. That's very interesting to see, and also very interesting that finally there does look like there are going to be more characters around the parks as well. So hooray! But we're digressing again.
We are. Next, what's up next? Which Twitter account are we talking about next?
We've got @CreaseBand. Is that correctly pronounced? There's 2 I's and there's 2 S's.
Is he in a band?
I don't know.
This could be one of our first famous
What?
tweeters, apart from one I'll mention later.
Ooh, exciting. Anyway, they say, love the first drop when you're not prepared yet to go down that fast, under the and to the mountain, but hates the noise.
That's the best bit.
Oh, we do like the noise. Well, me and you like the noise.
A lot of people must like the noise, surely.
Hopefully we're not the minority here, Andrew.
I hope not. Andrew Kirtley at the Kirtley. I love the whole story behind the ride and Frontierland itself, the noise it makes, the spookiness of the trains. So Andrew agrees. 2 Andrews and 1 Simon.
Huzzah!
That's the majority.
We'll take that.
Jessica May at Jess_1&1. She hates the queue, much like me, especially when you get stuck behind people smoking in the confined areas. And we're not going to get us started on smoking, but yes, we definitely agree.
Grr, another angry face.
Grr. Who's next?
Wolperumo at Wolperumo. Really cool ride. Love the wooden roller coaster feeling and the theming. Unfortunately, long queue times, but one of the best rides at Disneyland Paris. Thoroughly agree.
Yeah, like I said, I don't like the queue. It just, even if they could make it so it was, you never looped around and you didn't have to have a race down each side. It could be better, in my opinion, the queue area.
I still don't understand the splitting of the queue. It just doesn't make any sense. Bewilders me.
I don't know, because instead of having, because most people queue, maybe if there's space, they would queue with 2 people next to each other. There's probably enough space for 2 people side by side. So instead of having, and then if you've got 1 person on their own or a group of 3, you might have, more space around people. So maybe by doing that, you're kind of directing people to queue more tightly, so you get more people in the queue.
Yeah, I think that makes it a bit more antisocial, though. If you can't, if it's too tight to have sort of a group of you sort of all stood together, if you've got to stand in like a line, that's not fun. That's not about the Disney spirit of everyone socialising together and having a great day out.
True.
Equally, I don't like the bit when the 2 queues then merge back together at the end.
So we can't win. We don't like it together, and we don't like it in separate 2 separate lines either. So basically, get rid of the queue system. Just make it a big free-for-all, so as soon as that rope drops in the morning,
fight each other.
Everyone just runs straight onto the trains, and then other than that, you can't queue up. You just need to make sure you go past when there's a space. Sorted.
Slight health and safety issue, but we're not worried about it.
That's French. That's the French problem to deal with health and safety in France. We just want what's best for us.
Exactly.
Think about that. We're going to go on to some iTunes reviews. We've got a couple. Well, actually, we've got 3 of them. Quite an exotic location coming up next. We've got Germany.
Huzzah!
We've got a review from SepStar04. 5-star rating, and it's titled Best Entertainment Podcast.
Hooray!
There we go. I'm going to put that on my CV. Always nice to enjoy the podcast by Simon and Andrew. Don't know why they put you first, Simon, but I'll let them off this time.
Well, I'm wonderful.
You will get nice and useful information about Disneyland Paris' attractions and location. Exactly correct. Going on to the UK, do you want to go through one of those, Simon?
Yep, so from KT1985, 5-star, brilliant, entertaining, and informative. A great Disneyland Paris podcast by 2 enthusiastic and imagined who want to share their love of Disneyland Paris. The research, the details, and the opinions are all a joy to listen to. I'm so glad I found this podcast and hope to be an active listener for future episodes. Please do a Peter Pan one soon. Very listenable. I've nearly caught up on all episodes and I can't wait for more. Thank you.
Wow, that was fast.
Whoosh.
That's because, Katie 1985, so that means she'll probably be 30 years old now, which means it's nearly time for me to be 30 years old, because I was born in 1986. February.
Andrew.
So maybe by the time the next podcast's out, I'll actually have turned 30. Oh dear.
Crikey. We need to hurry up and do a lot more podcasts.
We need to do a couple of
We're
more.
so slow at doing podcasts.
Yeah, blame it on me. I say I'm too busy, but I just need to get organised a little bit. I would tell you what our plan is to try and make it more regular, but I'm not going to, because I don't want to have to lie to you when we don't stick to it. But we are honestly trying our best, and we really, really want to do a lot more podcasts and a lot more regularly. So keep listening and keep subscribing on iTunes or other alternative methods, and you will get a notification as soon as we put one in there. Last bit for us today on the Big Thunder Mountain podcast. It's our last iTunes review from the UK. It's from iOS 2013 or 2013. Hopefully they weren't born in 2013, because if they were, then they're doing a lot better than my son for 3-year-old. It's a 5-star review. The title is amazing. Great series of podcasts full of lots of great information, facts and debates. The guys make it flow really well and make the whole thing really enjoyable. They say they'd wished they discovered these podcasts sooner, but they're glad they have found them now. Hope there will be many, many more to come. If they found them sooner, then they would have realised that they're not as regular as we would like. So maybe it's a good thing they've joined the party late.
Yeah, we will make them more regular. I mean, we say that every time. You know, we mean it in our hearts.
Now, by the time we have uploaded this podcast and we've recorded the next one, we should have finished our attraction polls that we've been doing for Disneyland Paris. We've been running some attractions for round one of the attraction of the attraction of the year, but it probably won't be
an attraction of ever.
Attraction of ever is the answer there.
Apart from the ones that were here and aren't anymore. Attraction of when we started the polling. So in October,
the small print is the attraction of Disneyland Paris fans on Twitter who happen to be on Twitter at the time the poll is active, and it started. It's a list of the attractions Disneyland Paris posted on October 2015. So if you got all of that, then good luck. So our next podcast is going to be all about the attractions that featured in round one of the poll, which officially is all of them. We'll be discussing who won, who's been knocked out, and any potential matches for round two. Have you got anything to say before we say goodbye, Simon?
No, I don't think so. No, Big Thunder Mountain's a great ride. I miss it now that it's currently not here, but when it comes back, it's going to be better than ever. And when you next listen to our podcast in the next episode, we'll be having a nice light-hearted chat about this polling that's been going on. There's been some interesting results. I'm so angry about Space Mountain, but you'll hear about that
spoilers
in the next episode. So, see you then.
Yeah, thank you for now, and see you next time. Goodbye.